Hey guys, short video today for you. This is at least one step in taking your club level angler to the next step up, right? At least within your club level. I'm not saying you're going to go pro with this, but within your club level, if you want to be in those AOI races each year, you see it's usually the same people up there who are kind of regarded as good anglers, consistent anglers. If you want to join that club, then this is a step that you have to take, and that is finding fish offshore when the shallow bite dies, especially now come midsummer. It's 100 degrees out here in central Colorado. These fish occasionally can be caught up on the bank, but for the most part, at least in any consistent basis to get a good bag, you have to get offshore. And even here, just like everywhere else in the country, I've seen it, and I'm sure you've seen it if you fish club level, plenty of guys are satisfied with hitting the bank, hitting these main lake points. Let me show you on Navionics. They'll hit these main lake points. Here we've got an island. The boats will stack up on this island. They'll stack up on these points. They'll hit all these points. They'll go way back in the coves. And they catch enough fish usually throughout the year to keep them interested. They have really good days and they have 0 days. And anybody's going to have that. But when you're just beating the bank, those ups and downs are just you're going to have more downs than ups. But those ups and downs are just going to be so drastic that come tournament day, sometimes you'll be the hero, and most of the time you're going to zero. So you have to have this kind of different mindset of where the fish could be and how to catch them, so that come tournament day, if something's not working, you have some sort of backup, and your backup isn't, I'm going to go back to that point I just fished and hope that they're there this time, because you're going to run out of time real quick. Weigh-in comes fast, and you got to have some sort of other tricks up your sleeve to catch fish. So the spot I'll talk about today, like I said, Main Lake Point, people beat that up. Island, people beat that up a lot. And they set their boat out here, which is right on top of basically another underwater island. It's just a big enough boulder down there that it's kind of intimidating, like it's huge. And the thing with that boulder is it's about 35 feet underwater. So most people aren't even looking at that. The ones that do look at that, I would say most of them are just going over it saying, oh yeah, it looks like fish are down there, but it's 35 feet down, so I'm going to fish this island. And I don't know what the thinking is on that. I want to say it's that the fish will pull off down here to rest, whatever, and they'll come back up on the island to feed. And maybe there's truth to that, but I can tell you, I caught a 2.5 pound smallmouth off this big boulder today, and there was a big school with it. I'm pretty sure with enough time or enough trips back, you could have probably gotten a limit off that boulder. Not even talking about in this saddle, another place that people post up their boat to cast up to this island. And this saddle this is about 40 feet deep here, jumps up to about 15, and then tapers all the way down to 30 feet. So I'm going to show you on active target what I'm looking at when I'm sitting off the edge of that drop in about 40 feet of water, up to 15 feet, and then it tapers all the way down to 30 and even way out there down to 60 or however deep feet. So I'm going to play this and talk about how I use my active target to just look for active life down there, right? There's a lot of walleye in this lake. There's trout, there's wipers, there's crappie. It's got everything. Mostly smallmouth, at least on the bass side. So as you can see, we've got some suspended roaming fish. Looks like a fish there. Definitely 3 fish there. This is a boulder, some sporadic rocks and grass down the slope. So I'm just looking around for moving targets, right? Moving fish. So 1, 2, 3, these are a little too suspended. Like, I know I'm not targeting them, but there's one milling in the grass there. And then out here about 80 feet away from the boat, there's just a kind of a school of fish hanging out there, right? Some of them obviously up off the bottom, and there's different ways to catch those fish. I'm not a pro. I'm not targeting individual fish with a little minnow rig. I'm kind of using my active target as just a live side scan, right? As I'm fishing, I'm looking for life. I'm targeting that life, and I'm throwing a Carolina rig down here about 70, 80 feet out, 30 feet down, and dragging it back through the sporadic grass and boulders. And so I'm mainly targeting these heavy fish returns out here because that's 80 feet out. Those are big fish. They could be walleye, they could be big smallmouth, but I'm targeting them. And then I just know my whole cast has a chance of being productive because I got life all the way back to almost underneath the boat. And so I think I pulled up on this spot. Third cast, I caught a smallmouth. I mean little, 12 inches. But it also tells me the smallmouth are down there. They're eating. I'm throwing a relatively correct bait because I probably put out 80% of the weight in finding the fish and finding the active fish, right depth, right place. I threw a finesse worm down there on a Carolina rig. If you threw a brush hog, if you threw whatever plastic is your favorite confidence bait on a Carolina rig down there or a Texas rig, they're going to bite it, right? It's right place, right time, right fish. So a lot more work needs to go into not walking down the bait aisle of Sportsman's Warehouse, but finding the active fish that want to feed. And so, like I said, this is up on this saddle, and I'll show you next. I fished this spot for a bit. I caught 4 smallmouth off of it. I came over here, fished this big boulder that's under here, and I caught my 2.5 pounder off that one. That was my biggest today. And then I had a little lull in those spots, and I slid up here a little bit to where just a big tapering do nothing downslope. So this is what I'm talking about. I'm up here basically sitting on the top about 15 feet, and this is that kind of the top edge of what I was just showing you, right? It's got some boulders up here, sporadic grass that kind of comes down the slope, and out here roughly 40 feet deep, 45 maybe at the end, 40 feet right about here. And I'm just, like I said, I'm using my active target as like a live side scan. I'm not finding this fish right here and throwing a little minnow at him. I don't even know what this is. I don't know if this is a little stump. I don't know if it's a rock that's just coming up as a narrow return. But once I play this, you can see we've got a fish there. A couple fish are appearing down on the bottom in front of it. Some fish suspended above it. And even another hard return out here. It's probably another rock or whatever this is. And I throw out there, this is about 70 feet away, and I drag my Carolina rig by this, and I pull 2 fish off of that. Both keepers here, just over 15 inches. So, I mean, we're not winning the classic out here, but if we're trying to move up in that club level, these are fish that hardly ever get targeted on a lake like this. Here in central Colorado, because this lake just hosts club level tournaments. 90% of these anglers are staying 15 feet and shallower, and they may find some shallow offshore spots, like some humps that come up to 10, 15 feet, and they're just obvious spots, right? Sometimes those are on fire. Keep those in your bag, but also take the time to search out these deeper fish when the water gets warm, especially in the summertime. And I'm going to come right back to these spots in the wintertime, throwing a blade bait or something down there. It's just deep rock structure that's here in Colorado. And target these smallmouth that have hardly any pressure. And I mean, I never have seen a boat fish in this little saddle. Even if I'm out there catching them here and there, People drive by, I expect them to go do the same. I never see anybody fishing stuff like this, and it's a lot of people know it, and they've learned it. They've seen it in a video to fish saddles for current and stuff like that. And I don't know what it is. What clicks in our brains when we go out to the lake. It's like, oh look, the island looks too good because it's above water. Like the rocks are up there. Like I gotta go there, right? They gotta be there. And they'll post up their boat right here or right here, and they'll fish that island or they'll fish that point, and they'll set their boat right on top of maybe not a giant school, but one or two keepers that I know all of us have had those days in tournaments where one or two keepers is all we needed. Fill out the limit, or sometimes you find a giant smallie down there, down deep in the rocks. So I hope this helps kind of prompt you next time you're out on the water to do something different, right? Just always trying to learn something. Not can I go out and catch just fish for fun today. I mean, everybody wants to do that, but try to catch those fish for fun in a new spot. Come take something home with you with a new spot, a new level of confidence in a new bait or type of fishing like this, 40 feet deep in Colorado, 60 feet deep sometimes in the wintertime. Like you got to have that full range to compete consistently. Just try to get rid of those zeros on tournament day. So thanks for watching, and I don't know, maybe I'll make another one like this soon. Thanks.
As you fade away, as you fade away.